Today's video is a bit different. I will be talking about this book called The Giving Tree. It is a children's book written by Shel Silverstein and was first published back in 1964. It has been translated into over 20 languages and many people have grown up with this book. I have a copy and after many years I decided to have another look at it because my youngest child showed an interest in it. And all I can say is that my mind was blown. Because with my new insights and understanding of people and relationships, this was the most toxic children's book I have ever read. Why didn't I realize this 10 years ago? So I had to do some research and I realized that I was not the only one who had an issue with this book. There are different interpretations or ideas taken from the story. Some people highlight the positive, others the negative, some a combination of both. This book has rave reviews, and for decades it has been highly recommended to children and parents as a book about giving, being generous, and even a book about love. But I will be reading most of it today so that you can understand the issues I have with this book and why I refer to it as a story of a narcissist and their enabler. The author of this book apparently said himself that it is meant to represent a relationship between two people. One gives, the other takes. But there is so much more to be said, and it should not have been marketed as a children's book about the gift of giving or the gift of love without parental instructions. And although my initial thought was to throw it out, I realized it can be an amazing teaching tool to introduce children to the fact that there are selfish, materialistic, self-absorbed people out there who are only interested in taking what they can from you, and the importance of boundaries and not allowing yourself to be used by anyone. A brief synopsis first. The main characters are a tree and a boy. As the boy grows, their relationship changes, but it is always one-sided. It's a story of giving and taking. The boy is always taking, and the tree is always happy to give. That is why it is called the Giving Tree. Some people compare it to a relationship between a mother and a child, which is understandable, as parents tend to sacrifice a lot for their children, but the boy's attitude needs a lot of work and is far from agreeable. And even though it is a boy and a tree, from my point of view, the boy represents a narcissist, whether male or female, and the tree is someone who enables the narcissist. How does someone enable a narcissist? By not having boundaries and encouraging or condoning their toxic behaviors. The enabler can be a parent, partner, sibling, friend, etc. Anyone can be the narcissist, and anyone can enable a narcissist. But let's get into the story, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come, and he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek. When he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Okay, so the early stages were heavenly for both the tree and the boy. They both seemed very happy with each other, but the tree from the onset was giving of herself. He used her leaves to make crowns. He would eat her apples, climb her trunk, swing from her branches, and sleep in her shade. At this point in the boy's life, the tree was everything he could ask for. This is similar to the love bombing in a narcissistic relationship. The narcissist is so overwhelmed with their new target and what this new person can offer them, and they're just satisfied being in their presence and wanting to spend as much time with them as possible. But then things change. And in this story, the images are on point because you can tell the protagonist is so bored. He has had enough of the tree and goes in search of new and exciting things elsewhere. He ghosts the tree, leaves it all alone for a very long time. She doesn't see him or hear from him until he wants something. Then one day the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk, and swing from my branches, and eat apples and play in my shade, and be happy." "I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. The boy is back. He is strategic and he knows exactly what he wants. Narcissists do this when they come to you with their sad stories. It's not because they just feel like talking, it is because they know you have the resources or capabilities to help them. What also stands out here, and it will be repeated a few times, is that the tree is stuck in the love bombing phase. She keeps hoping that one day the boy would come and play and laugh and spend time with her like before, but he never does. He only cares about what he wants and what she can give to him. Like narcissists, they tell you what they need and they want you to feel it. Then they go off and come back only when they need something. The protagonist's sense of entitlement through this story is sickening. No please, no thank yous, and this is not addressed. You read this book to a child as is, and you are basically instilling in that child a level of expectation or sense of entitlement. And this will not just be limited to seeing their parents as the given tree, but anyone else who enters their life. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy, and she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches, and be happy." "I am too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife, and I want children, and so I need a house. Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house, but you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered, "come and play." "I am too old and sad to play," said the boy. "I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" It makes you wonder what happened to that wife and child he wanted. Is he ghosting them now as well? "Cut down my trunk and make a boat," said the tree. "Then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. And after a long time, the boy came back again. "I am sorry, boy," said the tree, "but I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone." "My teeth are too weak for apples," said the boy. "My branches are gone," said the tree. "You cannot swing on them." "I am too old to swing on branches," said the boy. "My trunk is gone," said the tree. "You cannot climb." "I am too tired to climb," said the boy. "I am sorry," sighed the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. I am just an old stump. I am sorry." "I don't need very much now," said the boy, "just a quiet place to sit and rest. I am very tired." "Well," said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could, Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down. Sit down and rest. And the boy did. And the tree was happy. The end. Okay, so that is the end of the story. As you see, the boy was always taken, and the tree was always willing to give. She gave until she had nothing left. And at no point did this boy appreciate all that the tree gave in her attempt to keep him happy. It was always about how he felt, what he wanted, and she just played into it as much as she could. This is not an example of generosity, but self sacrifice. The tree unfortunately represents someone who doesn't know how to say no to a narcissist. It represents someone who doesn't have boundaries, possibly low self esteem, and therefore does not recognize their own worth. Neither the boy or the tree are good role models. Yes, it is good to care about others and give of oneself, but there must be limits. Otherwise, it gets to a point where it is unsustainable and self destructive. We need to learn to help others without harming ourselves. And we cannot be like the boy who just wants to take and take without any consideration to the other person. We need to take the time to appreciate others and what they do for us, and also look for ways that we can contribute to their lives. The narcissistic traits of this fictional character are his selfishness, lack of empathy, sense of entitlement, and superiority. He clearly thinks that he is more important than the tree. Then there is the lack of contentment, as no matter what the tree does for him, he always comes back unsatisfied and miserable, despite getting everything he wanted. The money, the house, the wife and children, and the boat. In the end, he was all alone and miserable. He comes back to the only thing that tolerates him and his miserable disposition. So, this is why I refer to it as a book about a narcissist. I know it is all fictional, but this is how this book needs to be viewed because it wants you to love and keep giving of yourself to people like this who wouldn't bat an eyelid if you fell down dead from exhaustion trying to make them happy. It is an impossible task to try and make a narcissist happy, but it is what every narcissist wants. And that is something I spoke about in this video because just like the tree, you can give your all, but it will never be enough, and the narcissist will still not be happy. One of the editors of the book actually had this to say. Her name was Phyllis Fogelman, and apparently this was said in an interview years later after the book was written and seen worldwide success. She said, and I quote, "I have had qualms about my part in the publication of The Giving Tree, which conveys a message with which I don't agree. I think it is basically a book about a sadomasochistic relationship. Need I say more? But this book has gone unchecked for decades. Only in the last 5 years or so have people really started talking about it, and it is now viewed more as a cautionary tale about love. So if you don't remember anything else from this video, remember this: you cannot read the book as it is and just compliment the tree for its unwavering love and devotion, because that is a wrong message to communicate. The unhealthiness of the relationship needs to be expounded on. Use this book as a catalyst for more in-depth conversations about boundaries and healthy relationships. There will be a link in the description for those who are interested in getting this book. But that is it for today. Thanks for being present for the premiere. Let me know in the comment section if you were familiar with this book, and also share your thoughts once this streaming ends. But until next time, many thanks for listening. Peace and blessings to all.